Hello, ladies and gentlemen, ladies and jelly spoon boys and ghouls. Welcome to the Game Dojo. We are 24K movies, gaming, reviews, and TV shows. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. And it is the month of horror. That's right. That lovely Halloween month. And we are going through our Halloween pick list. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the heart of gamer country. And today, we are reviewing Friday the 13th, Part 6, Jason Lives. And a lot of people are saying, out of all the different parts that Jason and Friday the 13th there is, why Part 6? Part 6 is my absolute favorite. And not just because it had Freddy from Return of the Living Dead in it as Tommy, though that could be one of the reasons. Megan could also be another reason. That whole car scene where he got his head down in her lap and the cops are chasing him and they keep showing that camera shot. They knew what they were doing, because they showed a couple of times, and then she says, "That's what I want." I'm like, Friday the 13th, yeah, 80s horror, man. There's nothing like it. So anyway, Friday the 13th, Part 6. Why is it my favorite? It's my favorite for a bunch of different reasons, because up until this point, we're treated to the fact that Jason is a superhuman human being, but he can also be put down and killed. And if we didn't know, the previous movie, Part 5, Jason did die. For all intents and purposes, he did die. Because even at the beginning of this movie, when Tommy goes and digs up his grave for some gun, and can we, let's just pause there, right there. Pause. Phone call, 1 second. Yeah. Common sense? You're not there. Really? Just your answering message? Damn you, common sense! Why? Why do you not have to be there? Oh, that's right. Friday the 13th, Part 6, Jason Lives. You know why Jason lives? It's because Tommy digs him up. So Tommy decides, for some unknown reason, on Friday the 13th, that he would go to Jason's grave with his mask, dig him up, and kill him, even though he's already dead, and he's not coming back. And he hasn't come back. And it's been years. Nobody has died. So why would you go and disturb him? Anyone? Adamson? Adamowski? Anderson? Bueller? Jarvis? Why would you go to this man's grave and dig him the up? Why? Can anybody tell me why? Hey, anybody tell me why we die? I don't wanna die. So wrong. See you at the crossroad. Okay, so back to the point. Tommy goes and finds it's a great idea to dig him up to kill him, even though he's already dead. Now, when he digs him up and they open up the coffin, you can see he's nothing but dead mush. There's almost nothing there. He's dead. And Tommy says, "Hey, this is a great time for me to grab a metal spike and stab him a few times because I got some childhood issues that I need to work out." And it was within this point of disrespecting Jason's grave, his slumber, his sleep. He wasn't coming back, y'all. He was gone. He's not coming back. His work was done. He is rested. But no. So who do we have to thank for all the deaths in this movie? Jason? No. Tommy Jarvis, because his dumbass dug him up. And his friend, Horshack, decided, hey, I'll come along for the ride. At no point did you say to yourself, this is wrong, I shouldn't be here, I think I want to go back to the nut house. Because clearly Tommy is still crazy. But no, it never happens. So Tommy goes to his stab-a fest into the body of the dead Jason, and it's at this point where he gets out because he wants to light him on fire, which is stupid because he's already dead. Like, leave sleeping dogs lie. There's no better iteration than that. So lightning strikes the pole, going into Jason a few times, and of course, just like Frankenstein, now Jason's heart is restarted. Wouldn't happen if the grave wasn't dug up. Wouldn't happen was a metal pole in there. Wouldn't happen if Tommy didn't go on Friday the 13th and dig up his grave. But it did. So now Jason's just like, shit, man. Who the hell is disturbing me after all these years? So he gets up. Oh, thank you for bringing my mask. Climbs out of the grave, and now Tommy wants to get scared. Now his friend Horshack just runs off, and you're just like, hey, he's gonna live. He's going to get into the car, leave, go back to the nut house, and live. He's going to live his life. No, this dumbass comes back and tries to hit Jason from behind. So, of course, he's killed instantly because he didn't have to die, but he needed to die because he went along with Tommy. So, that's a death well deserved. So, Tommy Jarvis now has the ability and the audacity to look startled that Jason is back. You dug him up. You fucked. You see, there's a big phrase that people live with now. Fuck around and find out. This is literally that reiteration. Because he fucked around and found out. So now, he runs to his car and he drives to the local police station to tell them that Jason is back. Who's back? Jason is back. How is Jason back? You brought him back. But he never tells anybody that part. Oh, I dug him up and stuck a pole in him and a lightning struck him and brought him back to life on Friday the 13th, you know. But he's now trying to tell the cops of this town, which is now Forest Greens, formerly Crystal Lake, that, hey, Jason came back. Jason didn't come back. You brought him back. That was a resurrection. You might have well took the Necronomicon and read from the book yourself, and the Deadite is back in full-fledged. So now Jason is back, and he's angry. And, you know, I'd be angry, too, if I'm enjoying my, you know, internal slumber. Somebody digs me up, so now I got to come stab some teenagers' asses off. And that's exactly what he does. He was like, you know what, I'm going back to Crystal Lake. Clearly, they didn't get the message the first time. This time, I'm going to leave it an emphasis right on it. I'm going to put a point and an exclamation point on top of that. So, of course, the cops don't believe him. So the cops are like, hey, you crazy boy, I remember you. Get the hell out of my town. So they go to drive him out of town, and of course he wants to drive them to the cemetery and show them, hey, Jason is alive. Because, yeah, everything happened because of you. Take some responsibility. Like, take some responsibility. So, of course, Jason's grave is dug over by the caretaker because the caretaker is just dumb. And they take him back to jail, and they're just like, look, man, I'm telling you for the last time, get the hell out of my town. I don't want to see you. If I see you again, I'm going to kill you. And then he's just like, you don't understand. He's back and people are going to die. Yeah, but it's your fault, Tommy. It's your fault people are going to die. It's your fault. At this point, just go at the local hotel and sit it out and wait for the bodies to start to drop. Because then when the bodies start to drop, you can call the local sheriff and be like, I told you so. Now you have something to work with. But of course not. You don't do that. You go back into the town again and keep putting yourself in all the wrong places. So now it seems like you are the one murdering people. So this is where the camp counselors gets murdering back and forth. The first two, I'm going to say, if you didn't recognize one of the guys in the Volkswagen Beetle scene, that's Carl Bruner from Ghost. He was the one that was responsible for Patrick Swayze, Sam Wheat getting shot. So watching Carl Bruner die in this movie, I was okay with it. Sorry. That's for what you did to Sam Wheat. That's what you did to Sam Wheat. Patrick Swayze, rest in peace. Carl Bruner, you deserved that. You had it coming. And I'm glad that you got it that way. I'm glad Jason caught you with the pokey and flip. He caught you with the Pokemon. I'm glad about that. So, after those two first camp counselors dies, we phase right back into the camp. And now the kids have arrived, and you have a bunch of counselors that know nothing, absolutely nothing, trying to take part of kids. Now, at this point, they could just send the kids home because the people who really know how to run this place aren't there. But they figured, you know, they're here. Let's go ahead and have a great summer. And the Stab Fest starts. Now, I will have to say, Jason upped his body count in this movie. One of the first deaths was the paintball guys. The paintball guys was a funny scene by itself. One of the paintball guys, he literally... There's a guy who's angry that he got shot, and he's cutting the twigs and tree branches with his brand new gleaming machete, which, thank you for giving Jason such great tools. Like, where would he get them? Would he stop by the local hardware store and stock up? No, it's just people around with great tools and Rambo knives with the hunting apparel. Thank you for giving Jason such great work tools to complete his job. So, of course, on one of the slashes, they keep showing the knife go back, and we just know what's going to happen. And it comes back, and Jason grabs his arm, and he yanks him so hard, he slams him into the tree, and his arm comes off. But then if the guy falls off the tree, there is a bloody smiley face in the tree. And I don't know why you guys did it. I don't know why. But it's hilarious to me. Nice touch. I mean, it's stupid, but it's a nice touch. It's a nice touch. Absolutely nice touch. Plus, anybody who's ever played Friday the 13th, the game, they know how Jason, like, just transmorphs around, back and forth through time. this movie was really the first one that showed you that reiteration that he really does that. Because there's certain times where you see people running and he's walking behind them, and then literally they stop for a second and he's in front of them and just spews them, and you're like, how the hell is he getting around Crystal Lake Forest so quickly? If you play the game, you get the mechanic. My man has this surge mode, this anger mode, and he has the ability to just morph through town and certain areas and just appear. And that explains a lot in this movie. That really does explain so much about Friday the 13th, Part 6, Jason Lives. So as the camp counselors are getting their ass stabbed off, Cord and his girl decide this is the best time to go bang with a camper, you know, in the middle of the woods, which you have a whole entire camp to do that in. I don't know why you had to go with the camper to the middle of the woods somewhere else. But of course, Jason morphs there. And during the middle of one of the weirdest sex scenes in the world, to music, which I will not play because I'm not going to get copyrighted for that one, Jason decides, hey, let's have some fun with these guys. So somehow Jason gets into the camper without them knowing. I guess when they both went outside to check for the cord, he got in. So as they're driving away and the girl's falling all over the camper because she decided to let this Nimrod drive, he grabs her into the bathroom and starts, you know, strangling her and doing his Jason thing. And then he slams her face into the side of the camper and a mold of her face goes through the camper. Now, physics would tell us that her face and skull would probably smash and break. It wouldn't be able to go through the metal and create an imprint of a face on the outside. So, but I'm glad they just went over. Like, the deaths are so overkill, there's no point in arguing with them. Like, Jason was the ones before this with the sack and the potato sack and the weird blue mask that wasn't him and it really was him, but it wasn't him, and the spirit. Those other ones really didn't showcase the strength, the raw strength that categorized him as a beast more than Part 6. Part 6 was the first movie that showed the full beast of Jason. The full beast of Jason. Because when he comes at you, your only choice is to run away, and that's not even guaranteed going to help you at all. But this is the only movie where we don't see him kill any kids in. He has a bunch of kids in this camp, underage kids, that even one point he walks through the cabin and he looks at the little girl who's awake, which her dumbass was told to go to sleep 7 times, and then she's running around the camp with Jason's knives and stuff like that. Like, I feels bad to me saying this, but I never wanted a little girl to die more than I ever did in that movie. Like, clearly, kid, if you just stayed put with the other kids, you would have been safe. You wouldn't even seen him. But no, you gotta be awake. You gotta be walking around and looking and getting into shit. Like, why? What was the purpose? So anyway, I digress. She finds the other girl, and if it wasn't for her going out and finding the other girl, like, she would have lived. So the other counselor brings her back to the little kids and tell her she had a nightmare and everything will be okay. And Jason's in the window watching. Like, he's literally in the window watching. I was like, if you leave that girl and these kids, I'm gonna stab your ass off. Simply put, I stabbed everybody else's ass off because they didn't watch me, they weren't watching the kids, and they were negligent. So as long as you stay in this place, I'm not gonna do it. And of course, she walks away from the kid, and Jason's just walking along outside the window like, oh, you're gonna leave the kid? That's your ass, Mr. Postman. And of course, she makes it back to her camp, and that's where she gets it worse than anybody. And this is the reason why I say my theory is correct. If she would have stayed watching over those children, he wouldn't have killed her. He may not have killed her because she was not negligent. Everybody else he killed was negligent. The same way when he drowned and died, they were negligent of watching him because they were doing that, is the same reason why the people died in this movie. Yes, they were all negligent. But he stayed inside. If he wanted to kill her, he could have broke through the glass, grabbed her by her neck, and killed her while she was in there with the little children. But he did not do that. He stayed at the window and just watched. He watched her reaction with the kids and what she did. I truly believe if she had not left, he would not have killed her. Because he killed nobody in that cabin. No children whatsoever. Even when he burst in and walked in there, he killed no children in that cabin. Even though their dumbasses were told to stay underneath the beds and they kept getting outside of the beds. Maddening. So, anyway, it's within this point that the cops start putting dead bodies together one by one, and they're blaming Tommy because now Tommy is nowhere to be found. And of course, when they do find him, he's with Megan. So now they lock him up and they tell Megan, hey, your friends are dead. He did it. And she's like, no, Daddy, he was with me the entire time. What time did this happen? And they establish, and then he's like, well, I'm gonna go back out and check the rest of this. And he goes find parts of Sissy, Cord, and the Baker girl. Like he finds everything, and he's still not convinced that Jason is not here. And Tommy finally gets to Megan and was like, look, we got to get out of here. We got to go back there. The only place he can die now is at Crystal Lake. But he was already dead before you woke him up. This is your fault. I say it again, Tommy. You deserve to die. But, okay. So, now the cops make it back to Crystal Lake, and they find body parts and people dead everywhere. And these cops think they stand up to the ultimate wrestler, the ultimate WWE phenomenon, Jason. Mr. Voorhees, if you're nasty. And Jason, I don't know where he learned these skills. Maybe he met a ninja in hell, but he got the skills of throwing arrows, knives, pucks. He just got skills to pay the bills all across the board. And that's frightening, because not only can he kill you 1,000 different ways, including his bare hands, but he's got accuracy like he was trained as an assassin. So he takes out one cop with the arrow thing for the bolt. Caught him in the head. Dead. Other guy, he grabs him, crunches the skull. He's clearly getting worked up to his Jason rage, which if you played the game, you know the rage mode. Once you work it up, you get them specials. This is one of his specials. So he finally comes across Megan's father, who now sees him, shoots him with a shotgun, with the shotty to the body. And then Jason rolls around, sits up, and was like, what was that? And then he shoots him again. And then he rolls around and stands up and was like, what was that? Then he shoots him again. Then he sits back up. The Undertaker set up. And then he pulls out his little pea shooter and starts shooting him, which clearly does nothing. So then he drops his gun and runs into the forest. You could run back to your car and drive back to town, yes? You had to run by your car to make it into the woods. But you decided to run into the woods. I don't get that. So Megan and Tommy make it to the camp, and she runs into the first cabin and sees that her girl is completely obliterated in the first one, and she's screaming for her dad, drawing all the attention in the world for Jason to her. But I think maybe at this point I'll give her a pass, because she didn't know he was real. So at this point I'll give her a pass, yelling and screaming for daddy and everything else, because she didn't know he was real. She believed Tommy, but she didn't really believe Tommy. So as Tommy's trying to get his stuff to the boat ready, because he clearly knows that his plan is going to work because it's in the script. Other than that, there's no way in hell it would have worked. Jason is chasing the father through the forest, and then Jason hears Megan screaming because she's calling for her dad. Once again, she does not know he exists. She wants to believe, but she hasn't seen him yet. Everybody else has. So she tells the little kids to stay under the beds and hide in the cabin, and she's going to go find the sheriff, which is her dad, and they're going to save them. Not going to happen. So as she's doing this back and forth, of course Jason hears her and starts walking back. So now the dad has to die. Now the sheriff has to die because he's going to go kill his daughter. Jason's going to go kill his daughter because she's screaming like a dumbass in the middle of the woods. And Jason knows exactly where to go and find her. So the dad picks up a rock. He hits Jason back and forth across the mask. And Jason was just like, you really could have lived. Like, you could have lived. If you would have stayed put hidden, you could have lived. Because if you would have stayed there, whatever happened back at camp still would have happened, and you could have been one of the people driving the kids to safety in the morning. But no, you had to fuck around and find out, and that's what he did. So for his efforts of trying to stop Jason from killing his daughter, because her daughter is yelling like a dumbass in the woods, he gets folded like a lawn chair, back onto ass. That's right, he gets folded, literally. Literally. So as Jason makes it back to camp, of course Megan is screaming like a dumbass, and she goes back to check the kids because the kids keep coming outside because they hear screaming, and they're dumb. So, but see, I can't say that because they don't know what's going on either. They haven't seen him. They don't know he's real, so I can't really call them stupid. I can, but I won't. So as she's in there with them, Jason bursts through the door, and the kids are screaming, she's screaming. And then, of course, Tommy is screaming to Jason, hey, come get me. I'm the one you want. It's me. I'm the one you want. And for some reason, Jason decides, with his hands wrapped around Megan's head, yeah, he is the one that woke me up. I think I'm going to go kill him first, and I'll come back and kill you. Still no attempt on killing the kids, and somehow Megan, anybody Jason has grabbed so far in this movie has died, but Megan, I guess, knew the script. So as Jason is walking towards Tommy, she screams again to Tommy, and Jason turns around and looks at her and was like, would you shut the fuck up? Like, you know, now I can't give you a pass, because you've seen him. You know he's real, and you're still yelling like a dumbass. It's nothing left but you and those children. You're going to get the kids killed and you killed if you don't shut the hell up. But of course, she keeps yelling, so now Tommy's forced to yell again at Jason to get Jason's attention, and Jason starts walking into the water, and Tommy thinks his plan is so cool because he's got his rock and he's got his chain, but he drove out a little too far. So just before Jason gets to him, he said ducks under the water. Now you done fucked up, because now you don't know where he is. Great plan, Tommy. Once again, this is Freddy from Return of the Living Dead. Freddy's stupid mistakes cost Return of the Living Dead. Well, even though it was Frank that smacked the tank, he wanted to go down and see it. So fuck around and find out there. He fucked around and found out here. Period. So of course now he wants to bring him to the surface. So he dumps gasoline in the water, makes a ring of fire so that everybody can see his death more epically. And Jason comes up and starts slamming and smashing and choking on him in the boat. And he manages to get the chain around his neck before Jason snaps the boat and they both go underwater. So then he was like, well, I think I'm going to hang around and see if Jason is dead. Oh, nope. Jason pulls him down, chokes him, he drowns. Now Megan can stay with the kids or get the kids out of town, put a few of them in the car, put a few there, teach a kid how to drive, tell a kid how to drive. We're going to drive the hell out of here and leave. Doesn't happen. She abandons the kids and goes to jump into the lake where she knows Jason is to try to save Tommy. And I know it's written in the script, but hell no, that ain't happening. That is not realistic. I'm sorry, son. You dead. Freddy's dead. Yes. Tommy's dead. Yes. But no, I digress. She jumps in to save him. Jason grabs her because once again she forgets Jason is under the water, just like Tommy did. So she turns the motorboat motor on, spins it, gives him a wasabi snooter sandwich, and he seems to be dead because the neck meat comes up from the water. You see the neck meat and the worms and the maggots, and you're just like, okay, he's dead. So she drags Tommy to the edge of the dock and starts performing CPR, where the kids have come out of the cabin now and are crowded around her. Come on, guys. Jason is not dead yet. What is going on? Why are you out of the cabin? None of these kids have any common sense. So of course she brings Tommy back to life. And I don't know about y'all, but I would take Tommy and the girl, put as many kids as we can in one car and the next car and the police car, because there's 3 cars. There's enough functionable cars there, and we driving back to town. I'm not staying there until the morning because we don't know if homeboy gonna come out of that water and stab your ass off. I'm not staying there. Even if I gotta walk, I'm walking. I ain't staying there. But they don't give us enough to know. Just by morning, they show the lake. They show underneath the water lake, and Jason's eyes open up, and he's still alive. He's just chilling now. I guess, the lake is better than, the grave where he woke him up in the beginning. But clearly now, Jason lives. He's back because of Tommy. So what to give Friday the 13th, Part 6, Jason Lives, one of my favorite movies in the series. I am going to give this, it's got dumb parts, it's got unrealistic reactions. I hate that. I gotta send it for that. But out of the entire franchise, it's one of the better ones that I like. It's one of my favorites for a host of different reasons. It's the movie I love to hate, but it's the movie I love to love because it has my boy Freddy from Return of the Living Dead in it. I mean, Megan, get an ambulance! His voice. Tina, na, na, na. Oh my god. I love him. Absolutely love him. So I will give this a gold standard when it comes to horror movies. A gold standard. Out of the Friday the 13th that I've seen, and I've seen all of them, this one stands out to me the most. This one and the one I know everybody hates it, but the one with the weird porno music, the one with the girl pop locking in the room and all that stuff, and a dude chopping wood for some reason, and a kid wants to give him a candy bar, so he chops the kid up for trying to give him the candy bar. You forget about it, Vic. I like that one. Everybody hates that one because it was a Jason by proxy. He had a blue mask. It was the paramedic pretending to be Jason just to kill people, I guess, because his son got killed in that developmental center. But at the end of the movie, they tie in the real Jason from The Mask with Tommy Jarvis, which somehow knew Kung Fu in that movie. So I would say that one's a close second, just because it was funny. It was a chuckle a minute. The black gang members that was roused into place, the little the little black kid that squeaks and left the girl Pam to die, like he just bounced in the middle of the rainstorm and just left her to die. That one will be number 2. This one is definitely number 1 for me, so we're going to give it a gold. So ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, in the month of Halloween, October, you gotta have your Friday the 13th, and we just had Friday the 13th. Believe it or not, Friday the 13th landed on Friday the 13th in the month of October, and this was the movie we watched. I got out of work, I came home, and I was like, we gotta do something that's Friday the 13th. And of course, the first one that came to my mind was which I love to laugh at. I love to laugh at that one. I do. But this one is my favorite. And the Nightmare Creature knew this one was my favorite. So this is what we voted on. This is the one we went with. And I enjoyed every single last moment of it. Like I said, the classic characters. You gotta love Megan. She's stupid at the end, but gotta love Megan. Tommy. My boy Freddy from Return of the Living Dead. Get an ambulance! Megan, get an ambulance! I love his voice. I absolutely love his voice. Oh my god. Yeah, we're gonna give this 3.5 Ninja Stars out of 5 on a Game Ninja scale. It's definitely a goal. Worth seeing. One of the funniest iterations, but one of the greatest too. And there would be no more Friday the 13th movies if it wasn't for Tommy waking him up on Friday the 13th. He had to go dig him up and disturb him while he was sleeping, because he wasn't coming back. He was dead and gone, not coming back. Dead and gone. The old me is dead and gone. Yeah, he was gone. And Tommy Jarvis brought him back. So ladies and gentlemen from the Game Dojo, thank you for joining me for one of my favorite Friday the 13th movies out of the series. Definitely one of my favorite. I mean, Freddy vs. Jason was just, that was just a movie everybody wanted to see. It was the anomaly of watching Freddy Krueger and Jason fight. I mean, yeah, it's good for that. It's good for that novelty. But other than that, it wasn't really that good of a movie. Other than that. This one, I loved the music. I love the fact at the beginning of it, he does his 007 thing. Jason walks through the eye, turns and slashes somebody, and you see blood. Like, that's exactly and how James Bond turns with the gun, except for Jason turns and slashes. Absolutely awesome. Yeah. So it's the movie I love to hate and love to love at the same exact time. It's one of the best out of the Friday the 13th franchises, and my favorite. Megan, get an ambulance! I'll see you guys later from the Game Dojo. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you guys for joining me. Thank you for stopping by my lowly channel and giving me some love. Like I said, our viewpoint is not solicited. It's free and it's real and it's 100. You give it, you take it, I give it to you. There is nothing across the medium. Not everything gonna be good. This was a good one. Definitely a good one. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I'll check you guys out later.